Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back from the MLG studios in New York City. You're watching the WCS America Round of 16, and we're about to enter our last match of the evening. And it's an epic one. It's Nestea versus Alicia, a best of 3 to decide who's going to be the second place player in this group. Of course, Snoot advancing in first place. I honestly, coming into today, I did not think I would say that, but props to the guy for making it happen.
Absolutely amazing play by Snoot, really just taking the group by his horns and just wrestling down every other player, showcasing his amazing skill this game. Now we're in Nestea versus Alicia. Only one of these players can advance to the playoffs. The other one is going to have to drop down. And it's going to be a very exciting match.
Yeah.
What's super interesting about this, Nestea loves muteless play in Zerg versus Protoss. Everyone knows that.
In any matchup, maybe. That's
true. He loves the muteless in all 3 matchups. Alicia loves the Stargate play in Protoss versus Zerg. And if you have 3 Stargates, it's very difficult for Zerg to go muteless against you.
Yes.
But
well, that stopped Nestea.
It didn't when he played minigun.
That's
Minigun
true.
played the mass Stargate style. Nestea just scouted him with the Overseer.
Oh my gosh, I'm remembering that game.
Yeah.
Actalon wastes 120 drones, I think.
Yeah.
And Nestea had 120 drones at one point.
This is Nestea's theory about Zerg versus Protoss.
Okay, let's hear it.
If they go ground, I mass a whole lot of muteless and I kill them.
Okay.
If they go air, I may not be able to mass muteless because they'll Phoenix, so I mass a lot of drones and then wait for them to transition out of Phoenix.
To something else.
And then I make 40 mutas at once.
I like it.
It's a good theory, right?
I'm going to try that out.
Because no Protoss will mass Phoenix unless they see it. They'll make a few, right? But they're not going to keep massing them because Zerg doesn't go muta. So you just mass drones and wait for them to stop making Phoenix. And then you go muta.
Definitely possible. Alicia needs to stay on top of his scouting. Let's just say that. Hallucinated Phoenixes literally every single minute. Identify what your opponent is doing and react appropriately. But if you let Nestea get out of control with the mutas, it can definitely be a very dangerous game for you. And honestly, these are must-win games for both of these 2 players, where the loser is out of the WCS America Premier League. Of course, the winner of this best of 3 does move on. And Alicia, in his interview, expressing some doubts a little bit in his PvZ play. So we'll have to see how he carries through in this last match.
I mean, he definitely got taken out by Snoot, and especially the game on Neoplan Vest. He had a significant advantage.
Yeah.
So that had to shake him up a bit. But what he has to do is he has to not think about that series anymore. Nestea is a very different Zerg vs Protoss player than Snoot. And so he's got to completely forget about that series and just focus on this series coming up against Nestea. And remember, okay, I lost to Snoot, but I did beat Sen. So maybe that cancels out. And both those guys, this actually is a very difficult group for Alicia when you think about it, because there's 3 Zergs he's playing, and each one is actually a very different style player. Sen loves to mass roaches. Snoot loves to attack fast and use the Vipers. And Nestea loves to mass drones. So this is and transitioning from playing player to player to player is very difficult.
I wonder how much, studying Alicia actually did of Nestea's playstyle. Maybe he saw that match against Nestea, and maybe he has some builds in place, to deal with that sort of play. But a very difficult prospect indeed. We saw how well Nestea played against Minigun. Again, before today, he didn't drop a single game. He didn't drop a single map in WCS. Of course, his first maps that is dropped to Snoot. That's the only maps he's dropped in this entire tournament. So I could see him going for a 2-0, but, he's
got momentum.
Right, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if Alicia has some sort of build, perhaps specially designed to use against Nestea.
We'll have to see what Alicia has in store. I think he should go with the airplay. Nestea is so good with mutas. I don't know if ground is even viable against him, except for maybe timing attacks before mutas come out. But what makes Nestea so good at mutas is it's not like Jaedong was the mutalist god in Brood War because he could control them so well.
Sure.
Nestea is so good at mutas in StarCraft too because he always knows where they should be. And we saw that against Sen on Belshir. He was behind, but even though Sen had the mute advantage and a speeding advantage, and so theoretically Sen should be able to keep drawing him back and forth and do a lot of damage with the multi-prong attacks, Nestea was always where he needed to be to defend against his speedings and also to get him back to cover his main from muteless harass. And then he exactly knew when Sen was on the right side to strike for the heart of Sen, and it was just beautiful picture-perfect play with muteless positioning. And that's so important, especially against Protoss as well. You really have to be on top of where to always have the mutas who, you know, if you can't defend an attack, you have to be always ready to base trade. And that's something that Nestea always knows exactly where to have his units placed.
And we've seen some really exciting base trades lately, or at least in the professional scene. PVZ, there's a crazy one. I think it was in Pro League, where it literally came down to one gas in the bottom. I remember it was Belshire, and there was like a Nexus in the middle of the map, and one little decision gave the Protoss player the win. So it's like you have to be able to make these decisions so fast in these ZVP matchups, especially when base trades come into play. And I feel like that's something that might actually happen here. It's such a tricky matchup nowadays.
That's definitely the direction Nestea wants to focus the games as well. You know, Nestea has always been really good at knowing how to handle base trade, kind of strategically where to have his units. Just one of the reasons why he hasn't had as much success at the top level in Korea over the last year or so is because sometimes in engagements, he doesn't always position or utilize his spellcasters quite as efficiently. But and that's also why his Zerg Mirror typically is his best match, because it's less spellcaster focus and more just strategy focus. When to drone, where to have the units, how many units to get. And that's the style he takes towards Zerg versus Protoss as well. It's less likely we'll see him play a Snoot style, where it's Road Charger Viper. It's all about the perfect concave, the perfect engagement angle, and the amazing Viper micro, positioning and using abduct at the right times. That's not, Nestea's style. We're going to see him play to try to strategically outplay his opponent to get so far ahead that if a battle ever does happen, it's already a foregone conclusion.
Of course, guys, we're about to get into the last match of the evening. I wonder, fatigue might come into play here. Of course, these guys have been playing all day long. I'm wondering how that might come into effect. It's getting a little bit late here in New York City. You got to keep your mind into the game, because as you get tired, your mind might become a little bit more sluggish, and that's when mistakes happen. And you can't let that happen at this stage. It's such an important stage.
A very, very big match. Only one of these guys is going to make the WCS America playoffs, and if you want to make it, you have to make it first to the playoffs. And then that opens up so many more opportunities. Not only can you do well in WCS America, but if you make the top 5 in those playoffs, then you go on to the WCS Season 1 finals in Korea, and that's another opportunity to make more money. And then all these things you win, not only are you winning WCS America, WCS Season 1 in its entirety, but then you also get points that'll mean you're going to qualify for the giant tournament at BlizzCon, which has even more money. So it's like, they're not just playing to win this tournament. They're playing to win this one and the next one and the next one, and it all adds up.
It's a snowball effect. If you do well at the earlier ones, you're definitely setting yourself up for success in the later stages. Such an important moment for both of these two guys. They definitely want to make it to the next round, and both of these players have told me that they are ready in the lobby, and I'm going to start the game as we get into the final match of the evening, a best of 3 between Nestea and Alicia, to find out who will advance to the round of 8 of WCS America.
This map is going to be Whirlwind. This is, of course, a map where I definitely think we'll see Alicia go Sky Toss. This is a map where the vast majority of world-class Protosses use the Sky Toss option. Of course, we also could see some tricky pylons and gateway aggression as he's trying to transition to that Stargate composition.
All right, here we are in game number 1 of this oh-so-important best of 3. The winner advances to the round of 8 of WCS America, while the loser will drop to the Challenger League. In the top right-hand location, I present your Red Zerg player. He hails from Korea and represents Team Incredible Miracle. He is Nestea. His opponent in the bottom left-hand location of Whirlwind, a Protoss player who expressed a little bit of doubt about his PVZ matchup in the pre-game interview. Can he carry through here and knock out one of the best Zerg players in the world? He is Alicia. PVZ on Whirlwind.
Oh, look at this, a fairly quick drone scout from Nestea. So, perhaps he saw that when Sen played Alicia, when Sen didn't drone scout, he ended up with a 3rd hatchery right next to Alicia's main base, pretty much. And that didn't go well for Sen. So Nestea saying, you know what, I don't want to have that potentially happen to me. I'm going to make sure I know exactly where my opponent is so I can know the type of build I want to do in this matchup.
Of course, scouting in the top left first, he's going to make that make his way down to the bottom left with that drone. Well, we see Alicia going across the map as well with the probe, trying to find out where his opponent is. There we see
It's
like a
gonna
15
be
hatch. Nestea able to get away with that.
the worker's gonna embrace. Oh,
Happy work.
a little bit of a kiss as they pass each other in the map of Whirlwind.
Just a light pack.
That's right. You know, you gotta appreciate the workers. You know, yes, the Zergs and Protosses typically try to kill each other.
Sure.
But, you know, the worker people, they can still say, hey, you know, you do a good job mining minerals. You know, you actually...
There's a mutual respect there.
Exactly. You mine at exactly the same rate I do. I can appreciate that. We're evenly matched.
We both regen health, in a sense.
This is true. You know, the probe can say, just shields regenerate faster.
Yep.
And the Zerg can say, but they don't regenerate during combat, and you can't regenerate your actual hit points.
Once you start losing those hit points, they're gone forever.
Nice little worker greeting. So we see Nestea, when he realized his opponent did not go Nexus first or Forge Expand, going for the gas to get Zergling speed out.
Something you kind of got to do, just to be absolutely safe against the early scary stuff from Protoss. Alicia going straight for that Nexus. There's cross positions pretty far away from each other, so not too surprising. Or wouldn't be surprised at all to see these guys be very macro, very economic, economy-minded as this game goes forward in the early stages.
Now the key thing here is to keep basically track on if Alicia can get a proxy pylon up, but no, this probe actually stayed long enough. He wanted to keep as much track of how much gas the Zerg is mining as possible, but he did have to leave when the Zerglings came out. And this probe is not going to be the set of proxy pylon. It's going to have to run straight home because it's going to be pursued relentlessly across the map. But Alicia's already sending out another probe.
Yep.
And this is so sneaky because Zerg players in general and ST is going to think, okay, that probe's going home. There's no proxy pylons as long as they keep an eye on this particular...
Oh.
The Overlord sees a second probe.
That's huge.
Now he knows it's out there. He may not be able to keep track of it, but he knows it's there.
It's a big map. There are places where you can hide those probes. Of course, one thing, it looks like he's able to sneak by into the natural expansion there, going straight into the main and try to get some scouting
This
done.
probe's a fugitive.
Oh, Nestea
it's
is
no
too
Harrison
good.
Ford, though.
He's too good to let that happen. Oh. He saw it, right?
Did he? I mean, he saw it, but did he see it?
Right. Oh
I
my
don't think he did.
That probe is... It's
the master fugitive.
It's his lucky day. Well...
Oh, that's
Nestea's
so
not
big.
Done. Nestea's not done.
Oh, the Zergling's trying to find it. It's checking all along the right side of the map, but that probe is a master. It's just hiding there. And this is the same build we've seen Alicia do time and time again. 3 gate pressure with the Stargate behind it.
Yes.
And this gate pressure, literally, you can't actually do it unless you get a proxy pylon up. If the Zerg can find a proxy pylon, just crossing the map with Zealots is the most painful thing ever. They're so slow, the Zerg's going to easily respond to them in time and take minimal damage. So, but having this probe, did the Overlord see it?
I don't think so. I think that probe just dodged the Overlord and the Zergling.
Oh.
He's...
What? The Zergling patrol missed it again.
Are you kidding me?
This is the most ninja probe. He's literally like threaded the needle.
I can't even believe that.
There's Zerglings on patrol paths all over the map, and the probe somehow finds a way through it all.
Still hasn't seen the pylon at the bottom. Alicia making a
man.
Void Ray. No Zealots being warped in just yet, even though Warp Gate is done, but look out for those. Alicia continues to impress.
Look at the Overlord spread of Nestea. Like, there's a diagonal line of Overlords across the...
And the creep, too. Like, if the creep had been out where it is right now, it would have seen the probe.
This is just absolutely amazing performance by Alicia with knowing where to send the probe at the perfect times. He's not warping in Zealots, though, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe he thinks...
Well, I mean, he realized his opponent's third is the top there, so warping in Zealots at the bottom might not necessarily do much, considering how far they have to walk. Now, expect now that the pylon is finished at the top, he should start warping in Zealots up there, I would presume.
And he might want to use the Zealots in conjunction with the Void Rays. He's getting the +1 air weapons. The Void Rays are revealed. The first Void Ray is going ahead and attacking that Overlord. So Nestea knows what he's up against. Zealots are starting to be warped in at the top. And... You know, Nestea just has a few speedings. If it builds up to 6 to 9 Zealots, it's going to be very difficult to defend with just Queens and Speedlings in small numbers. First 3 Zealots coming in.
3 Zealots marching into that third base Nestea like, what? Where did those guys come from? I thought I scouted this location. But Alicia is just too much of a ninja for that. The Spore Crawler getting canceled. Zealots hitting straight for the middle line, trying to take down some probes, or sorry, excuse me, some drones. Nice hold position micro there from Nestea. Queen trying to get some damage. And the Lings finally returning up there to deal with that. And now they're on a mission to find out where the heck those Zealots came from. And they should be able to slow that pylon without too much trouble.
Very impressive drone control by Nestea there. I think he only lost a single drone in that skirmish there, which was extremely impressive considering the Zealots were there for quite a while. So beautiful control there by Nestea. And of course he does love his Mulus. He's tacking up the Spire right now. But what he wants to do is he wants to make sure he scouts his opponent. You don't want to just blindly go Mulus if your opponent has multiple Stargates and has scouted your Spire.
Nestea's seeing 3 Void Rays there, and of course I think he's seen other ones on the field, so he should have a good idea of what's going on.
This probe is lost his ninja powers. Oh wait, no it has! What? Okay,
wait.
The Zerglings keep...
Okay.
Wait, okay, this time they're going to go up there for real?
There we go.
Okay.
Nestea's just playing with our hearts and our minds.
But he has set up a pylon at the top left. There's still that pylon on the right side as well. So, you know, one thing that happens, if a Zerg goes mass muta, they often rely on the fact that the Protoss can't send units out of their base without them being picked off. Oh no, this is the Void Ray hit squad's coming in.
But here come the Queens. 4
Queens should be able to deal with this, especially with transfusions.
Oh yeah, but they can go up and potentially deny that base at the top.
That hatchery could easily be cancelled. Of course, the disadvantage, these Void Rays are all going to die to Mulus. Oh wait, no, they have recall.
Yeah, recall the Mushroom. Unless the Mutas can target down the Mushroom Core really, really fast.
That's true. If he has enough to almost one-shot it before Alicia can hit the recall button.
The hatchery does not get cancelled.
3 Stargates from Alicia, so as soon as he sees Mulus... Oh, Corruptors! Very smart. Well, of course, Mutas are better against Void Rays. He's anticipating a Phoenix transition. And Corruptors, on a big map, when you can outnumber Void Rays early on like this, are going to be able to take care of him. Of course, later on, he's going to have to come up with something else once there's more Void Rays. But for now, Corruptors will deal with this without a problem.
Right, Mothership Core and Void Rays heading into the main base. Corruptors about to pop, so we should see an instantaneous recall once those Corruptors arrive. Alicia needs to do it very quickly, though. Doesn't want to lose these units. He sees the Spire. There are the Corruptors. Look out for the recall. There it is. And he's out of there.
Could have killed the red Void Ray, but decides to let that one limp away back home, and then all the other Void Rays can look at the hurt Void Ray and say, you know what? Fighting Zerg is hard work. Let's not end up like this guy with, you know, a broken wing and flying on half energy or whatever hurt Void Rays do. But now going forward, Nestea needs to get an economic advantage. He doesn't have anything cost efficient against Void Rays, so he needs to have a superior economy. Of course, he has total map control right now, so he can go ahead and take as many expansions as he wants.
Yeah, retake that base at the top would be a pretty obvious choice, and probably going to do that fairly soon. But the upgrades are really good here from Alicia. In fact, I wonder if do you think it's worth it to add on a second Cyber Core if you're going this crazy with the air?
I don't think you want to put the gas that direction, because the fleet beacon's so gas intensive, you're going to want to get Phoenix range as well. And the attack upgrades are more important.
Sure.
Armor upgrades are very valuable against Mulus, but in general you're kiting against Mulus anyway, and Mulus aren't quite as good in a straight-up engagement. Armor upgrades against Corruptors aren't very useful, but what is super useful against Corruptors is the attack upgrades. Because both your Voiders and Phoenix do low damage per hit but attack very fast, and the Corruptors already have a base armor at 2. So it's very important to try to mitigate that base armor by getting attack upgrades.
All right, a pretty crazy game getting started here. We got that range upgrade being upgraded for those Phoenixes. Alicia continuing to scout with hallucinated Phoenixes. Also a base being taken at the very bottom right-hand side of the map there for Nestea, as well as the top middle from before.
But these proxy pylons could come to haunt Nestea. There's 3 Zealots, the top left, checking for, you know, extra hatcheries. And Nestea really wants to build hatcheries across the entire map right now. And these proxy pylons are going to make it a little bit more difficult to do so.
This is also a situation where the drone count might start getting really crazy as Nestea starts wanting to add on static D to protect these extra bases. Nestea already up to 94 harvesters, but I think he's just getting started. So guys, definitely keep an eye on that. We have some Zealots marching into this 4th base on the middle right-hand side. Also 3 Zealots wailing away at that hatchery at the top. Some drones getting killed here. Nestea actually choosing to engage with the drones. 1 Queen trying to get rid of these Zealots, but Nestea a little bit focused on that base at the top, defending that. Now we're turning some Lings down to that 4th base, while we have the +2 air weapons attack on the way here from Alicia. What's Alicia's next step? Is it just Void Rays, Void Rays, Void Rays? At what point do you start considering adding in, I don't know, Tempest or Carriers?
if he's going to add in another unit, it's going to be the high temp one.
Okay.
But it looks like he's going to set up the 4th base first, and there's really no reason. Nestea's making nothing but Corruptors, and Voidray is hard counter Corruptors. So, oh, Nestea's taking this engagement. All the Corruptors being massacred.
Oh my gosh, the Void Rays.
I think he just lost like 10 Corruptors there. I mean, this is not, you can't fight Voidrays with Corruptors.
Gosh.
Oh man, that's brutal actually. And he's going to replace them with more Corruptors.
How does he deal with these Void Rays?
I mean, this is a type of army you really want. If you can get mass queens, that can work. If you can get mass spore crawlers and use abducts, that can work too.
Spore crawler,
or
yeah.
a mass muta transition if you don't have very many phoenixes can work.
Gosh.
But this Corruptor after Corruptor is just going to be destroyed by the Void Rays.
Hatchery melting away. The 4th base is gone. Force Field's trying to prevent the drones from retreating. A Speedling counterattack heading to the bottom side of the map. But Alicia looking like he has all the momentum in this game. Taking down that 4th base. Inevitably probably going to start heading on north. Fearless of what his enemy could potentially throw at him. But Nestea making more and more Corruptors. And as you said, I'm not sure if that's the right answer. Void Rays can just shred apart Corruptors.
You know, even if he can bait out these prismatic alignments and engage when they're done, which of course he can because Corruptors are faster, so he can run down the Void Rays. The problem is even without prismatic alignment, Void Rays still actually really destroy Corruptors in any case.
Yeah.
It's basically a hard counter unit. And it's very unfortunate Nestea is using that as his anti-air against a Void Ray heavy Protoss.
Yeah, still 4 more Corruptors in production. Nestea looking like he's going to lose his 3rd base as well. Not set up properly to deal with all of these Void Rays. Also not willing to engage just yet with the Corruptors, waiting for a little bit more. But I don't know what Nestea does from here. Is there a correct answer?
I mean, at this point it's too late. You know, Infestor transition earlier could have been great. In fact, that's actually what he did against Minigun. When Minigun did this build, he got a few Corruptors and went straight to Infestor Speedling.
Yes.
And some Banings as well to help with the gateway units. And that was a very effective combination because, of course, Infestors are great against Void Rays if there's no Templar support, which there won't be at this point in the game if they're making pure Void Rays.
Alicia took my advice to heart, man.
He did.
What did I say?
You just said just make Void Rays. And it's working out amazingly. There's just no response. Yes, Nestea's been able to deny the 4th base with the Speedings, but Alicia doesn't actually need more bases if his army never dies, right? You literally just walk across them at Void Rays and they'll just keep killing him until Nestea has nothing left.
There's the GG. Alicia takes game number 1, a situation that kind of snowballed out of control there for Nestea. One little misclick with those Corruptors in the middle of the map deciding to engage for a split second meant the end of like half of the Corruptors in an instant, and then eventually just turning them all around to their death. Just such an unfortunate situation there for Nestea.
It was, you know, I think Nestea's strategy was exactly, okay, if they go Stargates, get a few Corruptors, and of course, because he can produce 10 Corruptors right off the bat, he has map control until the Void Ray count builds up. So he's like, with that map control, mass expand. Then there was no 3rd step. There was no, okay, now I get this composition. Now I go Infestor, Swarm Host, Spore Core, Viper.
Right.
It was now I just spend, 3,000 gas on more Corruptors. And then, of course, they died of Void Rays.
Yeah. You suggested a faster Infestor transition.
In fact, I mean, really, you can deal with Void Rays if you have ground units plus Vipers. Like Hydra Viper works okay. Or Infestors. But you need something beyond Corruptors. I mean, Mutas can work, but if this Protoss scouts it, they can just go mass Phoenix with 3 Stargates and the range. So I don't even know if I'd suggest Muta transition.
All right, guys, this is a best of 3, so we're going to have more games coming your way. Alicia taking down game number 1, which means he is 1 win away from advancing to the WCS America round of 8. Nestea is 1 loss away from falling out of the Premier League and into the Challenger League. Guys, stay tuned. Nestea versus Alicia, game 2, coming up.